had the business.
Oh. Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO, YWCA of Northern New Jersey. TGIF, it is Friday. We made it through another week. And if you're in New Jersey, it's a beautiful, warm day. We've been having almost fall-like weather, it feels like, which is lovely. But we're back to summer today, which is good because we've got a little bit more of it left. But even though we're still in August and still in summer and early in August, so many of us who are parents are really thinking about, the school year already. There's obviously the potential of this being, another one of these years that we've had the last two that are just, we'll categorize them as different. And not what we're the norm, not what we're used to as parents with our children. And as our kids are getting older and trying to manage, school the way that it's being offered now, it puts a lot on us as parents to try to help support them through that. So our team at the YWCA of Northern New Jersey, many of us who are parents ourselves, and our wonderful mission-based mission impact coordinator, Alicia, who's part of our team, and I were brainstorming a few months, weeks ago at this point now, thinking about the return to school and what families would need to help get them in the mindset, to have a great year. So, we sat down with, and looked at the wonderful, people in our network and pulled together a real dream team to be part of an upcoming Motherhood Uncensored event, which is one of our women's initiatives where we bring together moms to talk about topics that are, impactful for them. And this event is on August 18th at 10 a.m. And we have brought together a wonderful group of experts to provide information and resources to help us as parents think about getting back to a school routine, knowing that there's going to be nothing routine again about, especially the start of the year. I don't know where it'll end up, but definitely the start of the year is going to be a doozy for sure. And with that, I'm so grateful that one of our panelists could make some time to spend with us this morning so we could let you know about the event. And yes, Jessica Bush, who's the Tutor Doctor of North Jersey. She has been in business for 10 years. This is not a new initiative for her. She really has been guiding parents and kids through, we'll talk about what she guides them through as we talk to her. But she's been doing it for, a decade plus at this point. But, like all of us, she had to figure out how to, help parents who have been her focus and help kids who have been her focus during this time. And she's been beyond busy, as we would imagine, because as parents and kids, we need the help for sure right now. So let me tell you a little bit about Jessica before we jump into our conversation. And I know, as the rest of the parents are probably feeling, especially I know today we're waiting for our governor here in New Jersey, if you're New Jersey based, to be making an announcement where he's expected to say that we will be going back to school with masks on, K through 12 with masks on. And, that's a different message than we heard just, a few months ago, because things were looking a little bit different then. And if you are, depending what school district you're in, your district may have already made an announcement, like mine did, that there was going to be no masks. And then, some families were happy about that. Some families were not happy about that. And then here we are. So we're going to get into all of that today. But Jessica, who believes in making learning personal, is the foundation on that topic, that sentiment is what she has built her business on, the Tutor Doctor of North Jersey and Rockland. Her instinct for uncovering the unique needs and desires of students and their families is really put to test in her business, and she deeply cares about helping children and families achieve their dreams, and they have long been hallmarks of her tutoring practice. Whether it's test anxiety or executive function or school avoidance, Her expertise lies in helping families address these concerns holistically. In addition to Jessica joining us for our panel on the 18th, we also have Nigeria Pearson Mutis, who is a psychotherapist, administrator, organizational consultant. And we have Marilyn Bryce, who is the owner and founder of Cook and Create for Kids. So we're going to talk a little bit about what each of them are going to bring to the table today, too. So, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. As Jessica and I have said, we've been in each other's orbits for some time.
For a while now.
So nice to finally, we have a lot of people in common, people that I know we both love dearly, which I think from my perspective usually means that extends right to the person even though I don't know them so well yet.
Absolutely.
But I really know what you do. I've been watching what you do for years, and just impressed with what you've accomplished and what you've done, and how you have really been such a resource for families.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here. You know that I'm concerned about the transition back to school, and as much as we can help these kids with the transition, it's in a lot of ways, it's going to be very different than we've ever experienced, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like, the first year when, the virus, really hit us and we, by, mid-March of 2020, we were kind of swimming along, and then bam, that shifted and changed that school year. And then we had last year, which was even different experience than that one. And throughout the year, the experience kept shifting and changing as things shifted and changed around us. Yeah. And now here we are again. I mean, I know we're all just watching, to see what happens, because, it's really hard to prepare your kids when you don't really know what you're preparing them for.
Well, there's definitely some things that we can do, and I have a college student, and that's a whole different ball of wax. But every age group, I think, is going to have different challenges. The little ones, I've had parents call me that say, my district is telling us to hold her back. What do you think about that? Well, honestly, my opinion on that is, how can you tell if a child needs to be held back when this whole past year has been like nothing you've ever experienced before? And I'm talking little guys, 6 and 7 year olds. Yeah. I think that parents need to be the ones to determine, your child, what they've been going through this past year. The little ones have been, I think they're bearing the brunt of it the hardest in a lot of ways, as far as learning goes. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. As far as, being behind in reading, or, I have students that still, don't know their math facts, or, they can't concentrate when they're on an online situation. They have to get and run around. So we've been talking a lot about brain breaks, which are so important for the little ones, when they're sitting behind a computer, that they have to have a brain break. I'm talking like 3 to 5 minutes, get up and run around, do some yoga, do some trampoline, jumping jacks, do something to get some fresh air, and then come back. And your mind is sort of renewed a little bit, just like for us parents.
I was just going to say, I mean, that's something I think those of us who have been on Zoom nonstop over this year have slowly realized ourselves too, that,
we all need brain breaks.
being engaged with these, with the technology all day long comes with its own set of fatigue.
Yeah. And it's interesting because like I was saying before, each age group really, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, each has their own set of challenges that we as parents have to deal with. What I've seen, in middle school, high school, has been some kids that have just totally shut down. Of course, not all. Some were actually thriving and doing well with online school, but serious shutdowns. Like I had a kid, I sit with every single kid. To me, your kids are my priority.
Yeah. So Jessica, before we go further, let's start there. Tell us about your business. I mean, you've been doing it 10 years. And, again, obviously you've shifted and changed with the times that we're in now, but, what is the work that you do?
It's very personalized, private. We used to be completely in home. That was our thing. I came to the home and met and sat at the table with every single student and child. It transitioned. I had to transition really quickly in March, the March when pandemic hit. We transitioned to online, but I still Zoomed with every single kid if I could. To me, if I don't meet your child and really get a feel for what's going on with them, I have a very intuitive way of reaching the kids. It's harder. It's harder when you're on Zoom, but if it's one-on-one with you and the child, I can do it. Unless the child is completely shut down, and I see this, which a lot of kids, that's what they're doing, and that's going to be a challenge when they go back into school and have to show their faces again, because a lot of them haven't shown their face. So that's my thing, is I need to know and understand your child so that A, we can make the best tutor match. B, I can find out what is it that they're passionate about besides school, because that's really important.
So your company, when you're working with kids, you assess their needs and you assess what the family needs, and then you pair them with someone who is equipped to be able to support them, and then you monitor and stay alongside.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really what we do is we manage the family's tutoring. Instead of the parents having to manage it and having to interview, and all of our tutors are pre-screened, background checked. It's almost like a white glove treatment, which is really what it is. And some of my tutors have been with me for 8-9 years. We have a relationship, which is so important, because when I tell them and give them the background story of a family or of a student, I know which tutors are really great with handling kids that have anxiety. I know which tutors are really good with executive function, how to teach them how to be organized, set up a plan, figure out when to study, when to have fun, when to block out time. That's been a really key, crucial thing over the pandemic, especially with middle school kids, high school, middle school.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was just thinking. I mean, obviously I'm for most of our viewers know, because we over the years share so much together this time, but I have 8-year-old twins. So, for me, my world right now is all about going into 3rd grade. But I know that, when it comes to tutoring and support, so there's the potential for that type of resource almost at, every age and stage, all the way through, and that there's, different needs for different ages and that kind of support.
And I'm telling you, the families that have been with us for years know that when you call me, I will send you I know your child. We've gone through years with them. Do you know what I'm saying? We have that relationship where I know what their needs are. I know their personalities. I know what their struggles are. I know if they've overcome a math struggle. We have students that math will be their struggle pretty much their whole life, and they need support, no matter what age. Even college. Online college has been a challenge for some kids.
Yeah, so, and I was going to say, some kids really were thriving during this time, because
they were.
They maybe were not equipped for some of the, the social anxiety that comes with school, was kind of out of the picture for them when they were in this remote space, where others really needed that interaction and that, connection with their teacher in the room to be able to do their work.
And I can tell you that if you have an introverted child, who has thrived online, it's going to be a very big challenge to get them back to school.
Yeah.
And what I have been reading and telling parents, I have an extremely social, extroverted child. So that's a whole nother, she can't wait to go back. But if you have a child that has kind of thrived being online in their bed, which I am totally against, but it's hard because they've been home all the time, and they get up at 8:00, they turn on, they log in, some of them, and they're in their bed. I can tell you, get your kids out of their bed. Get them out of their bed to do online if they're going, if they're doing school. It's going to be hard. I recommend getting them back on a schedule before school starts. Try to get them back out early. They're used to staying in bed till what? 10, 11, even some of the older ones, 12 or later. They need to get back on some sort of an earlier schedule. It's going to be really, really, because they're used to doing work in their bed.
Right. So earlier schedule, or getting back to a schedule, is one strategy that really is something that parents should be thinking about right now. I know we'll talk about this in much more detail when we're all together on the 18th at 10 a.m. But
I'm sure the therapist will agree with me.
Yeah, get them back into some kind of structure. So what about, parents? I mean, I myself, I have twins, right? And so, they both embrace this very differently. And,
sure.
I know I'm not alone. I talk to the parents in my neighborhood and, the parents, in their classrooms. A lot of us are just worried. Did they get what they needed? Educationally, are they prepared? I mean, mine are going into the third grade. Are they ready for the third grade? Have they learned everything that they needed to learn in a place, at a place when they needed to learn?
Yeah. My feedback is that we need to go really easy on our kids as they start back in. If we put pressure or whatever our expectation as a parent on them, I think it's going to make it more difficult because we don't really know where they're at unless, of course, they've had tutoring and have had assessments throughout this period of time where we know where those kids are at. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I have a kid who has gone up just in this past summer 3 reading levels. That's amazing. Yeah. That's a positive. I feel strongly that when that child starts 4th grade, he's going to be in a good place. But you need to go easy on them and see where they're at. And they're still going to have state assessments, which used to be, the old, which I
have the test name changed.
So they're still having that this year.
Yeah. So should we feel, though? I mean, they did so much assessing on the computer. Over this last year, they took I know my kids and I know at every grade.
You're fortunate because I don't know if all districts did that.
Oh, so I was going to say they did so much testing throughout the year, over on the computer. As a parent, I was wondering, is this how they did it when they were in school? Like, could the fact that they're on the computer be impacting the level, what level they're coming out at? I mean, those are some of the things too. I'm guessing a lot of parents are wondering, when they did do testing,
I think that you're fortunate.
How accurate?
Yeah, I think you're fortunate that they did, because I don't think all districts did do testing. I think maybe it was overkill, but in some ways it's smart because at least you have some sort of an idea. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we do. It's called Let's Go Learn. We do learning style assessments for math and reading and English. Typically when we start or we get a feel of where the child is at. We also connect with the family, with the student's teacher, with their teacher. And especially the little ones, we reach out and we say, hey, typically my tutor does, we're working with Johnny. We want to bring it full circle. We want to know, what do you see going on in the classroom that could help us to supplement what you're doing? We don't want them to feel defensive that, oh, you don't know what you're doing, so we're tutoring. Do you know what I'm saying? To me, it's a team. We're all working together to help that child get ahead. And most teachers, especially for the little ones, they respond really well. And our tutors keep in touch with them. And we work together very holistically. If the teacher sees something going on with the student, we need to know, because we don't always see the same thing when we're tutoring.
So here's another question that I have, and I know that's been a part of the narrative over this last year and a half when it came to education, is that obviously the only way to have continued over this time was embracing technology for children. And although, many districts were not prepared for that. They didn't have the technology in place, especially initially. They didn't have the resources for the teachers. They didn't have the resources for the students. And many of the students depended on, their families, their communities, whether or not they had the Wi-Fi and the needs to be able to, embrace the tools that were now, their teachers. What are some of your thoughts on, as we are now, I guess, going back into, from what we hear, right? Unless something changes in the next few weeks, what we hear is we're going back into the classrooms. What about that technology challenge that so many children across our state did have? I mean, everyone did not have an equal experience with technology, even if they were handed a laptop.
Learning how to use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or having Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which just instills more gaps. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that the schools that had the assessments are very fortunate. In our area in Bergen County, most of them did. But I have a really specific viewpoint on technology. I don't know how everybody out there feels. It's a controversial issue, but the bottom line is the kids need to get back into school. They need to have my feeling. They need to have limited technology. Parents that are hardcore about it. I know parents that turn off their Wi-Fi. In my opinion, that's a good thing. YouTube is taken over. And when they're online, sometimes they have their YouTube up unless their school laptop or iPad has blocked it, which, I know parents that have blocked it, which I personally, parents, can feel different. I personally think it's a good thing. Limit your kids' time with any sort of, make it maybe a reward. We've done that with some of our kids. If they have really great tutoring sessions or they do really great independent work, or summer reading or whatever, give them a little extra Wi-Fi, a little extra YouTube time.
Yeah. It'll be really, interesting to see how we kind of pull it back, right? Because, that's what the research says, that, although technology is a tool, it really should be limited. But yet our kids, especially at such a young age, have been, we had kindergartners and pre-Kers on Zoom.
That's right.
That's mind blowing, when you think about it. But of course, that was all that they had. So, how as parents do we start to put those limits in place, so that they can get back to get focused on more traditional methods of learning. I know my district had no homework last year. That was one of the things. They had a no homework policy.
A lot of them did, yeah. Yeah. And older kids, no finals and no midterms.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the older kids for a second too.
Yeah.
Because it's different. And our event on our Motherhood Uncensored event on the 18th, folks, is actually going to talk about all the different ages and stages. It's not just about the little ones. But, again, I have little ones, but most of my friends have kids that either are at the tail end, middle ends of high school, tail end of high school, or early in college. And they had a totally different set of challenges and equally, as difficult that they were dealing with.
I have advised a lot of families regarding the college admissions process. Mm-hmm. Which, in COVID land, as I call it, is a whole different story. They haven't been able to go out and visit colleges. They've been doing virtual tours, but some of them haven't. They haven't had that experience of walking around a campus, getting a feel of what they really like. Do they like a really big school like Penn State, or do they like a little school like Vassar or a private college?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that they feel really great about when they're walking around campus? They haven't had that. And some of them, I have honestly been recommending not do test prep. And I'm very honest. One thing you guys have to know, I'm very honest with families. I would rather you help your high school student increase their GPA and help them build their math grade if that's what they've been struggling with, or reading or whatever it is, French, then if they come in and we offer completely free SAT and ACT practice tests, typically a couple times a month. I used to do them in the Fairlawn Library for years, and it was great. I had kids from all over the county, but I can't go into there. I can't do it anymore. So we're doing them live proctored on Zoom where we have an actual proctor. I proctor many of them. And then we get this super duper detailed score analysis report where we can really see where their gaps are. And I sit with the family and the students, and we assess, what's the next best step, because a lot of schools are still test optional for a lot of these kids, and we don't really know where the colleges are going. That's another thing. We don't really know, are they going to transition back? Are they going to want to see test scores in the next couple of years again? But my comment is, if your test score will add to your package of your college application, it's worth submitting. If it's not going to add to it, it's not worth putting your financial investment. Honestly, that's how I feel. I'd rather you come on and we do some academic tutoring to help increase their GPA.
So, Jessica, we could go on and on and on. There's so many areas for us to talk about, and we will. We'll talk about more of them on the 18th for sure. For our viewers, we wanted to just make sure that you got a sense of what our event was going to be. We want you to learn more about Jessica and her work as the tutor doctor of North Jersey and Rockland. In our comments here, there is the link to her website. We also encourage you to follow her on her various social media platforms. I know I've been following her for years, and it's always good to be able to, especially now in these times, to be able to learn about resources, see what they're doing, and kind of get a sense what might be necessary for your family. And we have the link.
Can I say one more thing?
Please. Yeah.
Okay, because it relates to our upcoming Uncensored. I partner with a lot of therapists and educational advocates. I have connections I help parents if they need help. A lot of parents don't know if their kids have IEPs. They don't know what accommodations are out there if they're not told. And some parents need advocates to help them. And some kids really need to talk to a therapist or a parent coach. I also partner with parent coaches. Mm-hmm. So it's all about all of us working together.
Absolutely.
Alliance to help our kids and each other.
Yes, and you're raising an issue too that we will talk about on the 18th, and we didn't get into here again because there's so many layers to this. But we're basically talking about all children in the system, but especially children with special learning needs and challenges that are not COVID related, but that were pre-COVID, and how COVID learning exacerbated those issues is a whole nother conversation that I know that we'll touch on as well. Look, everyone, we hope that you put it on your calendar. It'll be a 1-hour event. As I said, we have this great panel that obviously includes Jessica, who's going to be sharing more on these topics and in more detail, as well as Nigeria Pearson-Mutis, a psychotherapist who will, obviously help us talk about how to prepare our kids emotionally for what's ahead. And Marilyn Bryce, who I have to say, I love that we are including this piece. She is the owner and founder of Cook and Create Kids. I don't know about you, but the one thing I did not miss over this time was packing lunch. So getting back to those kind of routines of packing snack and packing lunch and, all of those pieces. I mean, she's going to help walk us and talk us through ways to get back to that piece, because not only do we have to do it, but we have to figure out how to do it safely for kids with, minimal contact and all of that. And we know that there's so many questions right now about safety, about masks, about if they really should be back in school. From a physical perspective, is it without them being vaccinated? And then at the same time, we know that educationally, it's the best thing for them to be in an environment with other children and their educators face to face. So I know there's so many layers to this conversation, and we will attack them all when we are together on the 18th. And again, thank you to Jessica for joining us today.
Looking forward. Thanks, everyone.
And
looking forward
to
that.
To Alicia for planning such a great event. And you guys can register easily by going to the link that's here for you in the comments. if you have any questions, Alicia's information is there. You can reach out to her and she can answer them for you. And we also hope, if you have any just a quick plug quickly for our STEM program for girls. We have some great activities that are kicking off for our girls. We'll have links for that for you here. And there's still some time for summer camp for families, and the YW is still offering summer camp almost right up until the end of the summer. So, and you can purchase a week at a time. So feel free to look into that if you need that support over these next few weeks as well. We are so grateful for you to spend a little bit of time on your Friday with us. And whenever you watch this, I do encourage you to be part of the mission of YWTV, which is sharing important information, inspiring others. Take something you learned today, tell someone about Jessica's work, tell someone about the event in your life. You could share the link to this broadcast so that they can hear more about it themselves. This is a great opportunity to help parents and kids get ready for the upcoming school year. And I know
Thanks for having me, Helen. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
so much, Jessica. I'm so glad you're here, and thank you for being with us. And I know in the next 2 weeks there's going to be even more information coming out, but we will be integrating everything, up to the minute, into our event. So everyone, have a great weekend, have a safe weekend, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Jessica.
Happy Friday. Thank you.
Friday.